Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Jamie here. Hope you're all having a great week. So, this week I wanted to talk about how to handle a toxic relationship. So, a toxic relationship is any relationship, whether it be someone you're dating, your spouse, your partner, family, friends, coworkers, or the company that you're working for. Any relationship that just brings you a negativity every time you're around, that person. There's lots of signs of toxic relationships. Whether it's lack of support, you're constantly trying to one up each other, or you're jealous of each other's success. Hostile communication. If you're responding with sarcasm, or you're ignoring each other, you stop talking. For a couple hours, couple days, even. Um, Also, if one of you is controlling, questioning where the other one is, taking too long to answer messages, you're harboring resentment, holding on to grudges easily, for things that were way in the past, that you thought was forgiven but apparently wasn't. Uh, Dishonesty. If there's dishonesty in the relationship, constantly lying to avoid that person. Um, Also, if you're disrespectful, if there's disrespect in the relationship, like forgetting things, being inconsiderate of the other person's time, making large purchases without consulting the other person, that's another sign. Also, if there's a lot of stress in the relationship, you're constantly on edge, it's affecting your physical and emotional health, you're afraid to bring up problems, that's another sign that the relationship is toxic. Also, if you're uncomfortable, you do things that you don't want to do, just to make them happy. Um, you know, Also, if it's hurting other relationships that you have, you stop talking to family or friends. You're too busy dealing with your partner's issues. You're neglecting your own self care, ignoring hobbies that you once enjoyed. Um, Neglecting your own health, your hygiene, giving up your own free time, to deal with them. You're afraid of conflict. As I mentioned before, you're afraid of causing tension, or just bringing up anything that might cause conflict in the relationship. Um, all of these signs, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't save the relationship. There are ways to save it. If these signs, aren't bordering on abuse, and maybe it's just something that's gotten out of control. If you have a willingness to invest in the relationship, you're open to making the relationship better. That's a sign it can be saved. If you can accept responsibility, that maybe you did something as well. You have this self awareness to realize that you've engaged in harmful behavior. If you can shift from blaming the other person to understanding what they were going through, maybe their point of view, and you're open to seeking outside help, whether it's any sort of counseling or therapy, those are good signs that the relationship can be saved. And it's not just the other person, could be you. It goes both ways. If you're both willing to make the relationship work, definitely, that's definitely, the option that you'd want to go with, and not just, walk away from it. So how can you move forward from there? So try not to dwell on the past. Focus on moving forward with that person. Avoid thinking about any negative scenarios that occurred, in the past. Um, you know, uh, Try and view your partner with compassion. Understand if maybe they've been going through a hard time, struggling with any issues with, any other relationships they have, or any issues at work. Um, you also want to be willing to go to therapy, to fix yourself individually. Um, and you want to find support outside of that. You want to have close friends that, you can get their input and see what they think. Lean on them, or any other support groups that you can find. You also want to practice healthy communication. Communicate your issues from the way that you perceive things. Don't just assume that, the other person, don't assume what they're thinking. Don't say, well, you did this and now I feel this way. Say, the way I saw it is, what you did affected me this way. Because it takes the pressure off them, and it makes them less likely to, be hostile or retaliate back towards you in a negative manner. You also want to be accountable for your own actions. Be engaged during the difficult conversations. Realize, that there might have been something that you weren't aware of that you did to make them feel this way. You want to try and heal individually as well. Understand each other's boundaries, give each other space, and listen to them when they need space, and just be patient. Change takes time, doesn't happen overnight. You want to look for progress and make sure that you are moving forward and that the relationship has moved on from being toxic. So even though you can move forward into a more loving and positive relationship with that person, there are signs of abuse as well to look out for. If they're giving you a negative sense of self-worth, making you feel like you can't do anything right, or giving you chronic anxiety, you spend more time worrying about the relationship or your own safety. They're separating you from other people, forcefully distancing you, isolating you from work or school, trying to talk to your boss or your teachers, and just isolating you from other people in your life, or they're name calling. They're trying to humiliate you, belittle your interests, your appearance, your accomplishments, and not doing it in a joking manner. That's another sign. If they're trying to intimidate you, they're punching walls, not letting you leave during a fight, not giving you that space. They're trying to control your money, saying, they'll give you an allowance and you don't have control over your money anymore. That's another big sign. Also, they're gaslighting you. They're making you question the way that you're feeling and your own sanity, and making you think that there's nothing wrong in the relationship and that it could be your fault. Also, if they're threatening self-harm, threatening suicide, they're being manipulative. That's another sign that there's definitely abuse going on. But the biggest one is probably if they start to engage in physical violence. If there's any form of hitting, slapping, any physical violence, that relationship has become dangerous, and you need to realize that it's escalated to a point where the relationship probably isn't salvageable anymore. If it does get to that point, you want to call a domestic violence hotline, make use of other resources, and just try and get out of there. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship can't be salvaged at some point in the future. But as of the point that it's become physical, you definitely want to just get out of there as quickly as you can. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully help you see the difference between normal and toxic relationships, toxic and abusive relationships, and that you can start to sit there and think about your own relationships with people and see if any of them are toxic, if any of them are abusive, if any of them are salvageable. So try and think of the relationships in your own life. See if there's anything, any room for change, any room for growth in those relationships, and start to think about if you're not happy and what you can do to become happier with those people in your life. All right, so that is it for this week. I hope this was very informative and could help you. If there's any questions, please reach out, let me know. All right, that's it for now, and I will talk to you again next week. All right, bye for now.